Welcome back to the Pitch Pod. My name's Joe Janner. I'm the co-host of this show. With us, Jeff Stebbins. Jeff, how you been?
Doing great, Joe. Thanks for having me. Happy to be back at the Pitch Pod.
And we talked, earlier on about where we're at and what we're looking at in this episode. And we're really excited, in a sense, to look at an MLS fixture, Inter Miami versus Sporting Kansas City this upcoming weekend. And I think you at one point talked about being really excited about the idea of it featuring Messi. But what happened?
Well, that's kind of what I was asking myself. Yeah, so I was really excited to see Messi play and considered making the trip there to see the game happen, and that would have been really exciting. But when I learned maybe 3-4 days ago that Messi was going to be absent due to being called up at the international level, he plays for Argentina, of course. I decided not to make the trip, and I mean it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be a good game, but ultimately, if Messi's not there, neither is this reporter from the Pitch Pod.
And is that the storyline? I mean, it is a Inter Miami that's looking to make the playoffs minus Messi. Does that already skew your ideas and thoughts about where they're going to be and how they're going to perform? Or before we get to that, do we want to talk about the question mark of how and why and where and what's going on with that decision, or who and how that decision is made?
I think the one thing that we should definitely note is that at this point in the season, Miami needs all the wins they can get, and they have been on a winning streak. But even to potentially lose a game because their star player's gone at this point, it could hurt their potential playoff run. I'm not saying that that's going to happen or that's definitely going to happen. But at this point, for Miami to get back into it with the short amount of time they have, I think they need every win they can get, and obviously not having Messi there is going to hurt their chances.
And I think I question, or my mindset in terms of trying to put together the narrative, if you will, where we're at with this is I'd like to know if that was a part of the conversation at some point early on when Messi was going to be brought into Inter Miami. Was there any stipulations, or was he already? I thought, and I know we kind of talked about this before. We thought he was done. You win the World Cup, you go out on top. Did everybody? Did we just miss the memo, or where's it? Was something going on that we didn't know? I thought he was done with international competition.
Yeah, apparently not. And maybe he's just helping his team through the World Cup qualifiers. They did beat Ecuador 1-0 the other night with him scoring. So maybe he's just helping the team get into good positioning and have some strong international play in these last couple of years of his competitive career. Maybe he's just enjoying playing for his home country while he can, but I can't imagine seeing him line up for 2026. I don't see that happening. And if it does happen, I feel like you're right. I don't know how you could go out on a better way than he did. So I'd like him to go out on top as he had. And if he plays in 2026 and it doesn't go great, that would be very disappointing. You're right.
You have to question also, I mean, as far as the Argentinian program, if they're building on getting through and winning with Messi, but then know that he's not going to be a part of the picture come World Cup 2026, it's got to be a little bit questionable in terms of how they're putting this together. I mean, is it an opportunity to break away from the old guard, if you will? I know we even saw Di Maria is part of the squad and he didn't start, but he got to play. Some players and names that we thought they were maybe out the door aren't so much for these qualifiers, all to get them into the World Cup, but then them not being there, or they are going to be there. I mean, what does it say? I don't know. I think that's something we could maybe even look into further, because I still have question marks about that, and more so along the lines of, did Inter Miami know that he's going to continue to be a participant in international competitions while still part of Inter Miami? I thought it was a clean cut away from that, and it was an opportunity for him to be, now this is the next book, if you will, not even the next chapter, the next book of Messi, him in the United States, MLS, Inter Miami. But it seems like he's still holding on to that opportunity to be a part of the international team. So that's, again, question marks.
Yeah, we'll have to follow it and see what happens. I mean, 2026, it's a long ways away, and it's not a long ways away. So we'll have to watch that and see what direction. But yeah, if I were him, I would definitely want to go out on top.
And then how much I thought about this as myself is like how much is it, guess who else is still a part of the international scene? Ronaldo played today for Portugal. Kind of wonder if both or one or the other is who's gonna play out first, who's gonna walk away first. Is both of them playing a little game of chicken, if you will, in the sense of who's gonna be the first to make their international retirement announcement as a means to continue the narrative again of the greatest of all time, putting them both in there. Same. I haven't removed Ronaldo from the conversation. I think several other people, a lot of people have, but I haven't given up on the idea that Ronaldo possibly should be still part of that conversation, the greatest of all time. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that any of that, him knowing that Ronaldo's a part of it, still could play into it, or
You
is
know,
something else
I
again?
I don't know, but Ronaldo in the last World Cup, sure, Portugal exited a bit early, but maybe age is more of a consideration right now for him, and maybe Messi in a year or two, that'll impact him a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think we saw the contributions that to Portugal in the World Cup, especially not when you compare it to Messi's contributions to Argentina. But we'll have again. That's another great question, and we'll have to follow it and see how long these guys go on the international level. I mean, it's intriguing, and as long as they can continue to contribute, that's the direction they might end up going in.
I agree. I think that it's going to be take some time to figure out exactly, and we may not know, and they may not know, and may just be kind of going with the flow, if you will, of what's happening, and makes sense. You want to continue to push the brand of Messi and Ronaldo, and there they are. We're talking about them, so makes sense. What about though? Then again, do we want to get into? Is it a knock on the rest of the players, the rest of the program, the Inter Miami squad, and everything that they're doing to say, well, Messi's not a part of it. They're going into this upcoming fixture. Sporting Kansas City's visiting. Does it take away? Are we taking away too much from them? I mean, or or is it really just that? Do you think that it is really so much of what Messi's done over the course of League's Cup and coming back into starting it up with the league again? I know there was a game he didn't start, but he came in and he's able to score. I mean, is it discounting? Is it taken away from what Inter Miami can do with or without to suggest that he's without Messi, they're going to have a struggle in this next match? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, so we know that Busquets is going to be playing, and that's going to be definitely uh, a great advantage that Inter Miami is going to have. He's going to be tearing the midfield apart as he always does. Obviously Messi's not there, but he will have other options and Taylor, Martinez. From what I understand, Alba's going to be there at this point. That's what I understand. So um, I think he does have some targets that he can push the ball up to for sure. But of course, not having Messi there, that's going to hurt the team, and I do factor that in greatly as we are making our predictions today. Had Messi been there, I'd have a different prediction for you, score wise for sure.
Oh, and I think it's worth it. We haven't talked about the opposition. We haven't talked about a Sporting Kansas City side that's performed well. You and I have been there in person to watch them as a recent do well to score and win. And I think it's actually worth the question as well. So is it enough just to say, okay, whatever Inter Miami is doing, but what about Sporting Kansas City? Any thoughts on what they'll bring if they're now on the road in Inter Miami? The pressure's on. I mean, for them as well. They're still looking to make the playoffs, right? So you
Yeah.
have two teams that are looking to win. It should be a competitive side. But what about anything you want to install about what Sporting Kansas City might bring to this match?
Yeah, you're right, Joe. It's a big game for Sporting Kansas City as well. And the good news for them is they've been in really good form as of late. You're right. They're starting to put the ball in the back of the net. Polito, especially, we've seen him kind of wake up and get himself in good positioning and finish when he needs to. Um, Seems like Johnny Russell's had some health issues throughout the season, but he's starting to get back in the lineup more on a regular basis. Daniel Saloy has been a scorer. So Eric Tommy. So, yeah, I think Sporting's looking in good form, and you're right. This is a must win for them as well for future playoff consideration.
And is it worth asking the question before we get to the predictions? Who needs to win this more? I think I know the answer to that one. Who would you say that if there was someone that needed to win this more, who would that
Oh,
be?
well, as far as the league rankings, Inter Miami definitely needs to get some points. Absolutely, they're in a worse positioning than Sporting. Definitely. However, Inter Miami is coming off of a couple big cup victories, including the League's Cup. So yeah, they've definitely had an impact thus far. But to me, I think both teams need this, and I don't know if I can determine which one needs it more, other than the current rankings. And if
Well,
that's
no, as you asked that, as I asked that, as you answer, I was also thinking about how different, how unique it is when you look at a league like MLS with two separate conferences, where technically, the points, we'll just say it, are have of a different value when you're playing across the conference. Yes, both need points, both would like to get the three with the win, but it's a little bit different when you're sitting in the same table and you're looking up and down and you're looking at a fixture that's going to feature one side having a bigger impact by winning or not winning those or getting all those points. I think that's a little bit of a different question. I think that's what people may be looking at when they're looking at this game and making the prediction of how it's going to go. So yeah, I think maybe not the fairest question to ask who needs to win this more, but Jeff, I mean, can we talk about? Is there a winner in this? If you're ready to make a prediction, or is it on me to go first? I forgot how we have to put this together.
well, it's on you to go first, and
Oh,
I'm curious as to what your take's going to be. So, Joe, whenever you're ready, let's hear it.
I think I may have all but said it in a sense. I think these are two sides that will have a definite competitive match. Both obviously want to win it. I do think Sporting to go into Inter Miami with where they are and what they're doing and get a draw is probably a good result for Sporting Kansas City. Again, they all both need to win in a sense, but I think of the two, Sporting would be very happy with a result as far as a draw and get the 1 point by going there. Not to say they can't win it, but that's kind of more so where I'm at. Really could see this. I got a 2-2 draw on this one.
Yeah, that was one of my considerations, and that makes sense. I could definitely see that playing out. So yeah, that's a good prediction. I'm gonna go. I do think it's gonna be a close game as well, but I'm gonna go with the home team, home field advantage. Busquets, potentially Alba, the team coming in good form with Martinez, Taylor, others that Messi's kind of mentored in this brief period, and the whole team's starting to play well. Are they going to be as good without him? No, but I think Busquets is going to step up and show some leadership while Messi's absent, and I do think it'll be a close game. But I think Ender's got this 2-1.
Okay. And as you were giving that inside analysis of the form, the team, and the dynamic between the players, you have to wonder how much more pressure is on the others for them to do well. To say, well, it's not just Messi. Here we are again, right? We're contributing factor. We're part of this, and the reciprocal of it. What to say for the organization with a loss? Let's say they were to lose, and then people are looking, well, it was without Messi. There you are again. It's a similar situation, turns the table a little bit in a sense there. But again, I think they could win it as well. I think the 2-1 win for Inter Miami is a fair prediction as well.
Well, I'm excited for the game. I know Joe and I are going to be tuning in. Sure, it'd be nice to be able to watch it in person in Miami. Maybe one day we'll make it down there, but for now we'll just tune in on TV. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. That's the best way to support us here at the Pitch Pod. And as always, keep pitching out there, everyone.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.